any of you who are not in bold, Denny is our bold coach that is teaching bold. He owns several market centers. He is a listing agent. He's not out in the field as often as thank you. He's not out in the field as often as he used to be because he's busy working on his business instead of in his business, which is why most people.
You guys are killing me.
Sorry, there was something covering your face, Denny. So Denny he's got a lot of experience. On Tuesdays, I kind of shared his link with a lot of you, with most of you, actually, it's in our drive. He does a scripts practice on Zoom Live every Tuesday. And he's currently not charging. I don't know when that's gonna change, Denny.
It starts today.
It starts today, oh my gosh. So, anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna let you take it away, Denny. It's all yours.
So thanks. Ginger was my star pupil when I did Bold Bear several years ago, and we maintained a relationship. You're very honored to have her lead you in this group, and I congratulate you because you could be out there doing a lot of other things other than working on your career. So I was listening to some of the discussion. I'm not going to be a Baptist preacher, which means I'm not going to talk longer than I'm supposed to, and I'm not going to take up 2 offerings. I want to make this about you. And as Ginger was saying, I've got almost 40 years in the business. Got a 7th level team in Naples and Fort Myers. We're selling, we'll sell north of 350 homes this year. I've got 6,000 sales in my career. As I was listening to Ginger give you some great advice on systems to handle the offer you're writing or the multiple offers that come in, because Keller Williams, I say this all the time, is a model and system company. They have more models than Victoria's Secret. And you know what? The reason that we have models is because in systems is because we want to be able to have a big business, and just like McDonald's, to deliver a rather consistent level of service, delivering 1 billion hamburgers a year. So what is burning with you? I can talk about whatever you want. Like typically the class you see, the Mastery of Real Estate, I have a Tuesday class where Ginger started going until she basically mastered it. Every Tuesday from 1 to 2, it's free, it's still free. I teach a conversational class called Question-Based Listening Enhanced Conversations. Because being a bold coach for 5 years and people get all balled up, not knowing what to say, you guys are overthinking it. You guys already know how to have great conversations. Like, for example, Ginger, I don't know who's in the room, just the young lady in the blue who's brave enough to sit right up front. What is her name?
Erica.
Erica, you're having a party at your house, right? And my wife and I are driving to your house, and yeah, everybody has GPSs on phones, but sometimes they mess up. And I finally get turned around because I can't find your house. I call you up, Erica. Hey, listen, I'm trying to find your house. I'm lost. Will you help me? What is instinctively going to be your first question?
Where are you at?
The same thing is true in real estate. You guys slow down a little bit. That is a very instinctive question. So before you can help someone, isn't it a great idea you find out where they are? And you know what? You do that by asking questions. Questions are the key. Now, I'm going to go back to you, Erica. We've not rehearsed this. I'm not paying you for this spot. So this is totally candid, right? You ready to role play with me?
Absolutely.
All right, you're so brave. That's what you get for sitting up front. Okay, Erica.
I've been waiting for like 2 weeks to be able to do this with you.
Okay, you've been studying for 2 weeks?
No, I've been waiting for you.
Most people wait much longer than that. Okay, thanks for letting me know. So here's the question I'm going to ask you, Erica. What month were you born?
October.
Okay, now I want you guys to notice, again, the power of questions. That's what we call a good question. Why was it a good question? Because I learned something. Now I trust that Erica probably already knew that because she answered it like that. Yet it was a good question. So don't fret over what questions you ask the buyers and sellers or potential buyers and sellers you're working with. It's actually flattering when you do. And in fact, if you want to bore someone, can you bore them by asking questions or bore them by telling them a bunch of stuff?
I tell you.
Yeah, it's the telling. Now notice this is so simple, you guys. Question-based listening enhanced conversations. So people love to talk about what's on their mind and what they're feeling and tell you what they're looking for. I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, big backyard, side open. Let them talk because you're learning. However, as you get to practice this a little bit more, you understand the power of great questions. So let me demonstrate a great question. Everybody look at Erica right now. Everybody watch her. So Erica, my last question to you in this awesome role play is this. I'm going to give you a magic wand. You can be born in any month except October. What month do you choose?
August.
Now, someone other than Erica, tell me, what did you notice different about those two questions?
One made her think.
Delay in the answer.
Why was the delay?
She
She had to think about it.
Yes, great. Write this down, you guys. Great questions make them think. Great questions make them process. And that because there's a bold law. We all been through bold. I trust if you haven't, make sure you take it when it comes back. One of the bold laws says logic makes them think, and who can complete it? What's the rest of it?
Emotions make them act.
Yes, logic makes them think, emotion makes them act. And so in the last year and a half, things have been kind of topsy-turvy with COVID, right? And so I started to look at that bold law a little bit differently because we always interpret it. Well, if they want to buy or sell, then we have to get them into emotion and see their kids growing up in that nice backyard, and won't it be great to have the parents live with them? Not, okay. Anyway, so however, it works the other way. When fear, and we had a lot of uncertainty in the market, there's still a lot of uncertainty and it's growing. Don't let me forget this, Ginger. I want to come back to that question because buyers and sellers have one strong fear right now. But here's the thing, with all of that fear, logic was making them think, and emotion, fear, was making them act. And the action was the opposite of what we wanted them to do. They were deciding not to sell. They were deciding not to buy because they were in fear. And listen, fear, this is a terrible advisor. So when you ask someone a great question like that, you get them to think. And if you're working with a couple and they process it and say something out loud, it may be a thought that neither one of them really said out loud. And what happens is magic. That when they say it, it's gone into logic, comes back through their ears as what? Logic or emotion? It's logic. And sometimes that is enough to kind of break that log jam of fear and have them open up. Because this is worth remembering. Their inner voice is 100 times more powerful than your outer voice. So ramrodding a bunch of data and stats, and this is why you should, the market's going up, sub 10%, you're a dummy if you don't do it. That'll never break that log jam. They have to do it. You just give them the what do you want to call that? What is that called? A wedge you just give them the pick and the hammer. And you know what? When you ask the question, great things happen. So, and you work that out and you gain skill at that by what Gary says is the top 20% of what we do is lead generate, lead follow-up, set appointments, negotiate contracts, and number 5 is practice and role play. Now, I'm just going to ask you, you don't have to say, you don't have to raise your hand or anything. I'm just going to say, take it from me. Been doing this almost 40 years. Every morning from 8:30 to 9 o'clock with my team. Every morning except Friday, and I have my huddle on Friday. We're doing practice and role play. We're talking about how to handle objections. Well, you live in a pretty cool town, Reno. Do you guys have objections there? I'm just kind of curious.
Yes.
Yes.
So what's interesting is that when a buyer or seller were to give you an objection, how long do you think they've thought about that objection and what you might say? Like, maybe you're coming over there and you want to list their home and I don't want to pay that fee. I want a lower fee. I mean, do you think they're staying up at night planning that conversation? No. Yet we know that if you list enough homes, what's the probability you're going to get that objection? So shouldn't we be ready for it? My wife and I both love football, and if you're on my bold class, I talk about it a lot. So we went to the preseason game here in Tampa, went up to the Bucks and watch them play. I mean, they have in every NFL game, they probably have the first series, the first 12 plays, they're scripted, right? They practice it every day. My question to you is, how many times are you practicing a day? Because I don't care what you decided to do. If you want to be a piano player, or you want to be a flower arranger, or you want to raise alpacas, there's a skill that does not come naturally. And if you want to do it and earn a professional income, you may have some good golfers there. You know what? If you want to make money playing golf, make money playing pool, make money singing, you have to practice it. And what I tell my team, they're with me 30 minutes a day. If you practice golf 30 minutes a day, okay, you hit 15 balls, how long would it take you to be competitive in order to earn a professional athlete's salary? I mean, you can make it 6 figures in this business relatively easy. In fact, in my opinion, every agent is designed for a six-figure income, right? You're all designed that way. You just choose not to do it. Maybe you just don't want that living. That's okay, but you have that ability. But it takes a commitment, and it starts with practice. And practice starts what we teach in Bold with mindset. So I'm not going to preach anymore. I want to add value to you today. Ginger, may I comment a little bit on that offer situation just a moment?
Absolutely.
Very great conversation, by the way. So imagine, okay, so I've seen over we sold 6,000 houses, but I've probably seen twice that many offers come in, maybe more than that, and I've looked at. Listen, it's even gotten worse. Can you imagine 30 some years ago when I started, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have texting and all that stuff. So was even really before maybe fax machines, but I won't sound like your grandfather, okay? Let me just tell you this. We have a system in our office. Imagine you're the listing agent and you have an offer come in. In this market, you might have multiple offers. There is a system we do, because many times you're driving down the road driving with your knee, looking at the offer on a smaller cell phone, right? And putting mascara on at the same time. Is that a great system that might cause an error?
Yes.
And you talking about a customer there that's upset with their agent because they weren't feeling like it was happening fast enough, etc. Imagine doing this. And Ginger, what do you think of this idea? So I have my team print out the offer. Slow down a little bit, because you miss something. You don't want to have appliances somewhere or a hot tub somewhere that you don't get to use because you missed it in the contract, right? We highlight everything on that contract, that there's a blank for them that can be filled out. That slows us down to make sure we're giving our sellers a proper representation, because they're relying on us. And I know it could be a little bit slower. However, when you cut off the wrong leg once or twice, you develop a system. Nowadays, when you go into a doctor's office, when you go into the hospital, do you realize everybody that comes into that room will ask you what your name and date of birth is? Why? Because they're tired of cutting off the wrong leg. I'll go back to the gentleman in the back that basically made a statement where he goes over all the other ingredients of the contract. Here's my blink on that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I want you to know, you guys should know that contract before you sit down with a buyer. Secondly, if you know it well enough, do they have to know it as well as you? Yes or no?
No.
No. So what I do, for example, and typically I didn't work with a lot of sellers, more so than buyers. Ginger, do you want me to go over every paragraph of this listing agreement, or do you want me to give you the high points?
High points.
Now, is there different personality styles out there? The lender in the room probably has a higher capacity to be more detail oriented, because you got to be detail oriented when you're dealing with numbers all the time, right? However, the person you're talking to may not be detail minded. Now, so make sure that you're cooking the eggs the way they want them cooked, but you have to know every bit of that contract. So is that worthwhile? And just adding to the discussion you were already having, Ginger.
Yes. That is a great point, is know your contract, read it before you're actually putting in an offer for someone.
So some agent will be on my team and I'm not bragging here, I'm just confessing, right? For a month, they finally get the first contract in, a buyer wants to buy something or somebody wants to sell. You know what they're doing for the first time?
Reading the contract.
There you go. And if you don't have a lot of business, guess what you have time to do?
Read the contract.
There you go. And the other thing is that many times it's just subconscious that, particularly when you're new and you're attempting to get up momentum, it's new. Everything's new. I mean, we didn't grow up learning how to drive. Out of 5 years old, we were driving. We were driving a stick shift, right? Now you drove to work and on texting people at the same time and listen to Leonard Skinner and combing your hair and don't even remember driving, right? Everyone's bad before they get good. However, when you get better at something, your confidence level increases. And sometimes people that are new in real estate actually sabotage themselves because they're afraid they're going to make a mistake. And not having business and not screwing up is better than having business and screwing up. So that's it. That's all. That's my introduction. That's my forward. What are we talking about today, guys?
What kind of questions you guys have for Denny? Don't be shy. We have him as a captive audience. This is how much do you charge for coaching, Denny? Aren't you like $3,000 a month or a session or something? I don't know. What is it?
Actually, I'm working on Bitcoins right now. So crypto. No, it's $1,500 a month is what people pay. And so, well, I'll just prime the pump. What do you think in Reno is no different than anywhere else? What do you think the number one seller objection is right now?
Where would I go if I sold it?
Where will you go? I call that the homeless seller. Do you all get that objection?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
We're all getting it.
Then let me ask this. What do you think the number one buyer objection is in this market?
I can't find a house.
I didn't hear all that.
I don't have extra cash.
I
No,
can't hear. You'll have to be my go-to, Ginger. I can't hear it all.
So the number one buyer objection is very similar to the seller objection is, some of them, if they're renting right now, is they're tempted to sign a new lease because they can't find a house.
Okay, that's
So
awesome.
we've got a few of those.
They don't want to overpay.
Some of them don't want to overpay, is what Karen's saying, because we're there, this is the top of the price and they're at the top of their price point.
We're finding, and again, you raised two great buyer objections. We're finding the number one seller objection around the country is, hey, look, I can sell, I know easy, but I don't know where I'm going to go.
Okay.
The number one buyer objection we're getting across the market because the market is slowing, guys. It's slowing. Should I buy now or wait? When you were playing musical chairs, maybe they don't do that nowadays in schools, but I remember who remembers musical chairs, right? There's an internal clock that when you're walking around, the music's playing, the teacher in your class is playing it, and you're walking around, there's an internal clock that starts to say, uh-oh, I bet the music's going to stop any minute now. Y'all relate to that. And so that's what's going through many buyers' minds because the music has been playing, get this, for 12 years. And then it got superheated, what I call white hot, basically started maybe last summer. And so for basically it's a year, it's been going nonstop, 40% change in median sales price. You guys are rocking and rolling, Boise, Phoenix, all around the country. So are you having any hesitancy from a buyer standpoint? Because they're afraid that, they don't want to overpay. They don't want to step in and watch the market crash. Is that something germane to market, Ginger?
I'm getting nods of yes, that is happening.
Well, if you know that's out there, if you know you're going to have to play football on Sunday and it's going to be raining, do you want to start practicing with a wet football? Think it'd be prudent to do that? So wouldn't it be prudent to start practicing handling those types of concerns? The answer is obviously yes. So let me just share a kind of, you can watch the screen here behind me. I'll share a little bit of a formula. When I just went through an example, I used Allison. She's having a party. Hey, look, I'm lost. Where you're going? What you want to do when agents get nervous, guess what we do? We all do it when we don't know something. We just start talking. And what we do is start giving people reason after reason after reason after reason why they should be working with us. And none of those reasons maybe have anything to do with what they really want. Like if you're a server at a restaurant and you start recommending it, starting the appetizers on, we got calamari and we've got cauliflower and you start reading the menu. At what point would you say stop? Why don't you just ask me what I'm hungry for instead of reading the menu? So what I want you to be careful of, and when you start finding yourself throwing a bunch of sticky notes on the wall to see what sticks, that is selling, that is telling, that is hoping versus probing. So going back to the example of going to the party, Allison could be giving me directions from every place on this planet she knows, but she started by, hey, where are you? So if you want to take down some notes, we'll do a couple role plays if we have time, Ginger, to do a couple, and anything you want. And this is the model. This is taught in bold. This is taught in many sales classes. Just really quick, it's acknowledge, isolate, answer, close. And my style, and there's more than one style, my style is everything with a question. I could take you through a complete role play, any objection you want, and even a listing presentation, all question-based. So if somebody would like to role play a potential seller objection or any objection.
Raise your hand. Come on, you guys, you got Denny live. Come on up and get near the microphone. Cameron, sorry. Oh.
You're the young man that spoke during that contract section.
Yeah. Hey, Denny.
He's also in bold, Denny.
Yeah.
That's Cameron.
Cam, thanks. All right, awesome. Let's do it. All right. So are you a buyer or seller?
Let's be a seller. I'll be a seller.
Yay. I love that. So, all right. So let's just assume now. All right. There's several things that I want to make sure we cover. First of all, if you're doing outbound calls, and I'll cover this before the class is over. I did this with my team today. That's one conversation. Is it possible you can get an objection when you're doing lead gen? Sure. However, it's generally a good rule of thumb, do not handle objection after objection on the phone. Most objections should be handled at the table when possible, or maybe on a Zoom call if they're not in town. So is it okay, Cam, if we are at the table right now?
Yeah, I'd prefer. Yeah, let's do it that way.
Okay, awesome. So what is your objection?
Yeah, okay. So, hey, Denny, everything looks good here. I see your experience. Awesome. But I mean, right now in this crazy market, I'm going to sell. What the heck am I going to do? I'm going to be homeless.
Oh, I understand. When I just say I understand, I'm acknowledging. That's step one. Now, don't get sympathetic and, oh man, I don't blame you. I wouldn't sell either in this market. No, that's called digging a hole you can't get out of. You don't want to do that. We want to be empathetic, not sympathetic. However, here's the next point that a lot of agents miss, okay? The isolate. I understand that, Cameron. Well, other than that, is there any other reason why you wouldn't win and want to take advantage of this white hot market?
I mean, yeah, just still the concern that I'm not going to be able to go anywhere. All my friends that have sold are either leaving state or they're looking for investments out of state. So they have a reason to sell. I want to upgrade housing, but I don't know.
So I get that. I totally understand. So now I may pause a little bit. So if there were like 50 houses out there to choose from, I mean, you saw a bunch of them, just go get one. You know, you want to be at a nicer home, a little bigger. I'd spend a little time going over what he wants, because really, right, you all have to understand every buyer's and seller's motivation and understand this. They didn't wake up one day and say, you know what, honey? That moving last time we hated that, didn't we? We had to pack everything up. We broke our, piano broke, it was raining, it was hot, blah, blah, blah. Let's move again. That doesn't happen that way. It's like, we need another room. We got Zoom calls going on, the kids, we got the mother-in-law coming in. There's motivation. Make sure you understand that motivation, because that motivation ties to emotion. Right. So I won't do a lot of that conversation for time's sake here. Yeah. So let's assume there's plenty of homes out there.
Okay.
how would you feel about that? Would you want to take advantage of the market right now if you knew for sure that there'd be a home to move into?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's my main concern. So if we could figure out how I can get to that next home and sell my current home, then I would be more intrigued, I guess.
So now you count the questions, you guys, and notice I'll never make a statement. So, okay, so let me think here a minute. Well, if there were a way to do that, would you want to know about it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're wanting to stay in town. You want to go across the way there to get closer to your kid's school. Is that what I heard you say?
Yeah. Yep. That's basically it. I just want to upgrade, be closer to the kids, get out of my current home.
Awesome. So have you been looking online at homes over there in that area?
Yeah, sorta. I mean, yeah, I have, I've been poking around, but I haven't really been actively looking, you could say.
I get it. What I'm doing now, and the reason I have this slide up here now is, look, I'm starting to ask strategic questions. And sometimes, just like in a chess match, I don't know if anybody plays chess, you move a piece in order to position it for the other move. Now, I'm not going in. I could go right to the center of the Tootsie Roll Pop, yet sometimes if you come up with the answer before you've laid the groundwork, it doesn't work. What I'm attempting to do, I'm eliminating his retreat. I'm building a little bit of a trap for him, and not negatively, just conversationally. So the area you're looking over there, the little bit of looking you've done, have you found houses occasionally that would meet your needs, or do you have any concern that one would exist and you could afford it?
Yeah, no, they fit my need. I guess if I were to sell this house, it would be feasible to get into the houses I've been looking at. I think that's a plausible option. What
I'm doing, stepping out of role, you guys, is I'm figuring out if I'm eliminating the potential comeback from him saying, well, there's nothing over there I can afford. He's now saying there's stuff over there he can afford. So I know that I'm not getting him in harm's way. Now I'm going to find out. So these sellers that have a concern whether or not they can find a house or not, that's why they're not selling. You've got to find out if they're a buyer or a seller. Now, who knows what Cam is? Is he a buyer or a seller? Anybody want to take a wild guess?
I think he's more of a buyer.
Okay, maybe. And here's a great rule, guys. When you don't know, don't assume, ask. So let me ask you, Cam, do you have to sell this home in order to buy your next home?
Yes. Yeah. I'm
Now what is he, guys?
Seller.
He is a seller. And the other, go ahead. What, Cam? What?
Oh, just a conditional seller. I mean, I got to sell one to get to the next.
Yeah, but I'm gonna hog tie you here in a second, where you can't get out. That condition will be gone.
All right.
All right. And not negatively. I mean, you want help. You want an answer, right?
Yeah.
So so the other thing I want you guys to know is this, and you can ask this question. So, Cam, how are you going to be able to get out, take advantage of this market, sell your house, and knowing there's a house over there that you can move into? I mean, what's your plan?
Well, I was looking for some advice there. I'm thinking that I can just get into contract with one and then maybe sell my other home while I'm in contract. Can I do that?
Now he's talking about a contingent contract. So Cam, you can't listen. What's the probability a seller in your market will take a contingent contract?
Next to nothing.
I promise you can get a contingent contract. However, you're going to have to quit looking at the best homes. You're going to have to work at the get can bid. Sellers have been on the market since Obama was president, right? And they haven't sold. They're overpriced. They're bad condition. Now you can get a contingent contract on those, but he doesn't want that. He wants the best home. So I've now determined, I've asked the question. He doesn't have an idea. He needs my help. So let me ask you this. Okay. So we've already had the conversation if there was a way to do it. Let me ask you, if there were a way to have, that you could have your equity. So you knew your house was closed and it was in the bank. How much time would you need based on that, getting your equity to go over there and get that larger home closer to school? How much time based on what you see happen in the market?
You know, that's hard to say. I would think 2 months, but I'd need some rock stars. Absolutely.
What does rock stars mean? Oh, rock star houses?
Rockstar agent to get me, you know, sold and then into the next place without any hiccups.
Hey, listen, I got good news for you. When I finish the appointment, I'll sing Stairway to Heaven for you. How about that? I'm a rock star, dude. So if there were a way to do that, would it be worth a conversation?
Yes. I mean, if my worries and concerns there, I just don't want to be homeless. And I do want to make a good amount of money in the sale of my home that can get me into my next home. If I could find solutions to that, you know, I'd be willing to have a conversation. Yeah.
I'm going back to get clarity one more time. This is the close. So if we could get you the money you want for your home today, and you were guaranteed to be able to get into the other house and not be homeless, would you be ready to move forward with me today?
No, not today. I need some proof in the pudding. I want to see the numbers. I'm more of a numbers guy. But if I could get that proof from you and I feel confident, then there's a high chance that I might sign soon with you guys. Yeah.
Is there anybody else there that wants to role play with me? I'm kidding. I get it. Well, just theoretically, if all the numbers line up, I know we haven't talked about, I just want to know if your intent is. Because what good does it do me to solve a problem that you don't have?
Right. Yes, if all the numbers lined up, then I'd put my trust in you today. Sure. Yeah.
Now I'm showing you a lot of ways to go about this. I'm not saying every role play has to use every step. I could have gone right to that. But sometimes you want to build a little bit of a case, right? Now, that's called a trial close. One of the reasons you want to make sure you isolate, because before you go on to handle objections, and this is a short role play, they may have more than one objection. They may have 3 or 4. They may have 5 or 6. They may have 7 or 8. Well, they get anything above 7, just refer them to somebody you don't like, right? No, that's a joke too. However, you gotta make sure you're drilling down the right one. So okay, so we went over numbers, and we're saying, you know, you're looking in the 800 is what your expectation was, right, Cam?
Yep, sure.
And so if we could find somebody to give you that number, and I'm just wondering, what if they were to pay you that number and allow you to stay in the home for 2 months?
Oh, yeah, then I would sign right now.
Well, you know what we call people like you, Cam? I give you a lot of things. We call you the golden seller.
Oh yeah? Well, why so?
Because most sellers want someone to buy their house and move in right away. Yet there's buyers out there that are hoping and praying they could be able to find a home just like yours, lock it in so that they can start building equity, and they don't want to move in right away. Well, they want someone to stay there for a while because they're not ready to move. You're a golden seller. So how about if we put it on the market? We look for a buyer that will appreciate that. We'll give you your number, and you'll have 2 months. And during that 2 months, you can find a home. You can shop now as a cash buyer, or, you know, because we'll make sure there's no contingencies here. Well, actually, you'll be closed. You'll have all of your money. Now you're shopping as a cash buyer. Won't that be fun?
That sounds like something I'd be interested in. Yeah.
So does that sound, I'm out of roll now, maybe out of time too, I don't know. Does that sound feasible that you could do with sellers?
Yeah, more so than having them in contract or looking at, you know, reversing that whole role, not selling their home first, but getting them into a contract and then selling their home. So a contingent sale. Yeah, it sounds way more feasible the way you're going about it.
Well, if you could find a seller that has to take a contingency, is it going to be on the bleeding edge of quality houses on the market? No. I mean, sellers right now basically can get the best listings. You know why they sell first? Because they're the best. They can get whatever they want. And what's the probability you're going to have your buyer compete with cash offers or even finance offers with no contingency? You see, it's really interesting, you guys, and this is a great line to remember when you're talking to sellers. This is what they call a seller's market. I'll change your mindset on that just a little bit. However, what's interesting is sellers hold all the cards. It's very few times that I've ever seen a market like this where the sellers hold all the cards until one moment happens. When they sign the contract, all 52 cards plus 2 jokers are held by the buyer. They have no control. How about that? Think about that for a moment. So what do you think about the handling the objection that way? Any comments? Cam, you were being nice to me. We can do whatever. I think we have maybe up to 10 minutes left. If I have that much time, we can do anything else you want. Cam, anybody have anything want to say about that, or push back, or do something different now for the next few minutes?
I like that one because right now, I mean, at least for myself, a lot of the listings that I've had have all been they're moving out of state. I haven't had one where it's like they're trying to get into a new house. That was helpful. Unless anybody else has another one, I have one I'd like to go over as well.
Yeah, just to change your mindset on something here, guys, and is that we've got a buyer that we're working with in Naples that will, on the right house, will let the seller stay there up to 2 years.
Wow.
Dang.
Any seller you run into that has that concern, there's a buyer out there that will meet that timetable.
Especially now, yeah.
Yes, and a rational seller cannot say no to that. So if you present that to them and they say no, there's a little bit of rust bubbling up under the paint. There's something else that they're not moving because, well, what if I don't find a house in 2 months? Okay, well, how much time you need? Well, how about if I have 3? Well, let's say you have 3. Well, what if I don't find something? Well, do you think you need more time? How about 4? Well, if you had 4, would you move forward? You see? Up to 4. What about rent? Well, you're making a mortgage payment now. Don't let all that. Listen, sellers have the opportunity to get off the Titanic before it sinks. The piano player is still playing. They get off on a new cruise ship, and before they hit the iceberg. And that's pretty cool, right? All right, what's next, Cam?
I've had this one a couple times and I did okay with it, but I know you're probably an expert at handling this objection. It's just when you're going over the listing, I mean, there's so many discount brokers out there right now that do an adequate job, I guess. Partially they can list the home and sell it. But then as a listing agent that wants the full commission, the 6%, and they ask for a concession on your commission down to like 5%. Can we go over that role?
Sure. We're at the table. So you ready to move forward, Cam?
So I've had this before too, just right up forward. What do you charge?
Well, we have a flexible fee. It's 2% or 6%.
Okay, so can I pay you guys 5% then to list my home, and then you guys pay the buyer's broker as well? 5% okay?
So now we have just sat down, and that's how you're leading off.
I did have one guy lead off like that, very up forward, and it was
Okay.
a little
That's
alarming.
okay. So let's assume you did that. So let me ask you, what's important to you? Saving money or making money, Cam?
Making money.
Okay. So then are you really asking me the right question then?
Well, I just, I mean, if you'll do it for 6%, but then somebody else will do it for 5%, the houses sell themselves these days, right?
Well, you're absolutely right. You don't need me to sell your house. Anybody can give it away and leave money on the table, but you just said you're interested in making money, right? What if I did it for 0%? Would that be better?
Yeah. Will you do it for 0%?
Seriously, think about it. If a broker said they're going to do it for 0, you think that's going to maximize your return?
No.
So let's make sure before we go forward with this conversation, we're all on the same page. You know what I really think a great listing agent is, Cam?
Tell me.
Somebody who maximizes the return of the seller's equity in the time they have available. So
Yeah.
So listen, you don't need me to sell your house. You don't need a barber to cut your hair. You can cut it yourself, but I'm sure you go to get your hair cut professionally. Why do you do that?
Yeah, because I want the best haircut.
Well, yeah, because everyone will know you did it yourself, right?
That too.
And so now you're dealing with something you're an important asset. So would you agree to at least slow down the conversation so you make the right decision by asking me the right questions? Fair enough?
Yeah, that seems fair.
But that's how I would handle somebody coming right out of the gate like that. Now, notice what I did is I said, oh, great question. You interested in making money or saving money?
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, my wife spends $300 to $400 when she gets her hair done. She could go to some cut hut place and probably do it she gets it colored and all this. And hey, she looks great.
Yeah.
She can get it done for 50. I mean, can you identify with that? I mean, it's your anniversary. Maybe it's your first anniversary, Cam, and you're going to go out in the garden and pick some daisies and do it. And like anybody can pull a daisy out and stick it in a jar. You're going to call a florist and have them deliver some nice flowers. Anyone can do it. Bull crap. Yeah, anyone can sell your house, but you're going to leave money on the table. Let me tell you a story. I met with a seller. You guys got to have your stories. Got to have them down. I just met with a seller just like you. In fact, they were going to sell it themselves. They wanted $225,000. It was a small condo. Listen, nothing like your house.
Mm-hmm.
I said, why are you doing that? Well, we want to save money. Well, let me ask you then. Well, would you hire me if I were free? You know what he said?
What do you say?
Yeah, sure. So I tell you what, this is a difference between you doing and a professional doing. This is a difference between you picking daisies and giving to your girlfriend or a florist delivered it. It's going to be her reaction, right? So we listed for $270,000 and sold it for full price. That seller walked away with $50,000 more in their pocket they wouldn't have had because they weren't working with a professional. That's why I'm asking, do you want a cheap commission or you want more money at closing?
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I mean, I do want to save money, but I definitely want someone who's going to give me the best price. So, I mean, how would you guys do it a little bit differently to get me that price that you're talking about? I mean, what versus like a Redfin agent, let's say?
Well, okay. So now we're talking Redfin. They're coming in and offering you what? What fee?
I met with them. They said they could do it for 5%, maybe 4.5. And I was told your guys' fee is 6%. So, I just want to make an educated decision here. I do want to save a little bit of money if I can, but you're saying you're going to maximize my value. Just how are you going to do that? A couple steps?
Yeah. And I don't
Would you
have
help me to understand a little bit is all.
Well, one is if there's a couple of different ways that I can, and I don't know if I have the time to do everything I'd want to do here because there's a pricing philosophy I believe in. Let me just say, let's set Redfin aside just a minute. The other agent said they'd do it for 5%. Fair?
Yeah, fair.
So let me ask you, when they came in, were they at 5% or they were at 6%?
Well, they were at 6 and I asked if they could do it at 5 and they agreed they could probably do that for me.
Okay, and that made you feel better?
Yeah, I mean, they had a concession and it worked out. So I felt pretty good about it. But I mean, I wanted to interview somebody else before I agreed to that.
I get it. So let me ask you, they're taking it down 1%. How are they going to pay? What are they going to pay the broker and what's staying in their pocket? How are they paying a buyer's agent? What percent?
They told me 2.5 on both sides.
Oh, so you're actually disincentivizing the buyer's agent to show your house, right?
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, what is the average? Is it 3% to the buyer?
Well, let me just say, well, if you're a business person, and again, all things being equal, I know the inventory's short, but it's not dead.
Mm-hmm.
If there was something out there you're going to make 3% on, and something out there you're going to make 2.5% on, and the buyer said, look, I don't care. I mean, which one would you naturally hope they lean towards?
Yeah, I mean, I would want the buyer's agent to make more, I guess, but I thought 2.5 was kind of the standard, is what they told me. Is that you guys go 3% to the buyer's agent?
Yes.
Okay, just to incentivize them more.
Well, you do want your agent looking out for you. You do want your agent telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, right?
Yeah, I'd prefer that.
I have another question for you.
Mhm.
Do you think negotiation skills is an important attribute for the agents going to represent you to sell your home?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
And you know how many points, do you know how many points of negotiation are in the contract? I mean, during the process of selling your home?
I've been told a lot. There's a lot of negotiation.
Well, a lot of negotiation, but it comes back more than once. You know how many times that a negotiation comes back?
No, I haven't done this before.
At least 3.
At least 3. Okay.
So then we're in agreement that negotiation skill would be important, yes?
Critical, I'd say. Yeah.
Okay, so what kind of negotiation skills did that agent demonstrate to you? When he cut his fee by 30%, how fast will he cut your equity?
Yeah. He was pretty easy to give it up.
You would rather have a bulldog agent like me that fights for your equity? Oh, by the way, it'll happen 3 different times too.
Yeah, it's a good point, Denny.
What are the 3 times, you guys?
Just, I mean, going back and forth
No.
stuff. You mean?
The offer,
In the offer.
the appraisal,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Inspections.
inspections.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So you got to slow it down, let them know. So listen, you guys, think about anything you buy. Go to a butcher. Can you get cheap meat or good meat? Or are they not mutually exclusive? Is not better meat generally more expensive?
Yeah.
Isn't better anything more expensive? With the exception, I'll close with this, Ginger, because I know I'm on borrowed time. Let me give you 3 quick mindset things and I'll let you go. Now, do you guys think you would benefit if you had this conversation every day, every week, or whatever? Is this expanding your thinking a little bit?
Yes.
So mindset's so important. We talked about this in bold. We talk about seller's market. I'm going to go fast. I don't use it anymore because it suggests somebody wins, somebody loses. I use the term winner's market. I use this with buyers. Buyers, we're not in a seller's market. We're in a winner's market. Well, what do you mean? This is one of those things that no one's telling them, so they're going to think it's a winner's market because the sellers, sure, they're pocketing extra money as their prices go up. But here's the thing: as soon as you lock in a contract, you're going to start riding that same equity elevator up that the seller is. Won't that be fun? Because it's true, buyers kind of hate the market right now, but I dare you to name one buyer that bought in the last 6 months that's sorry they did. You see, it's a winner's market. It's buyers win, sellers win, lookers lose. That's number 1. Number 2, a great listing agent is free. At some point in time, I can come back and I can explain to you guys the value proposition of a listing agent is free. If you give me enough time with a rational seller, I'll walk you through even a for sale by owner. It's free. If you're good, we are free to a listing agent. Don't have the time right now. Next, in this market, it's the only market I've ever been in that's been like this. Never walk away from a listing in the market. I don't care what the seller wants from a pricing standpoint. Listen, you don't know what it's going to sell for. So why not give them the benefit of the doubt? It's the conversation after you agree to take the listing at their price, not our price, their price. It's the conversation you have after that that's important. And the last one is this. When you work with buyers and sellers, always set expectations, not prices. When I work with sellers, I don't set listing prices. When I work with buyers, I don't tell them what they offer. The only advice I say, it's got to be your very best. And there's a script and a role play that we do with that. Because when you put your fingerprints on the price, number 1, you're guessing. You're guessing, you guys. The best agents out there are doing market analysis with supercomputers and adding 5 or 10%. They're taking this estimate and multiplying by the zip code. And that's how they're coming up with asking prices. Listen, you don't know what it's going to sell for. So quit guessing. Set expectations. Same with buyers. So, Ginger, I hope there's something there of value. Maybe somebody can share an aha or something, because that's my payment. That's my offering. What did you hear that was kind of cool that you can build on?
There was a lot in there, Denny, for me. I have a bunch of notes. I love that though, that you, sellers win, buyers win, lookers lose. I love that. That was pretty profound. I liked your little, thing that you put up on the screen about, the process. I think for me, I'm very visual, knowing that, when you're talking to anyone, when you're doing, scripting or whatever, you want to acknowledge, isolate, address it, and close. I think a lot of people forget to close. That's been what I've witnessed. And I think getting good at closing, but closing at the right time and with a lot of great questions. I noticed when you were talking to Cameron just now and practicing, you were, I think, 99% question, if not 100%. I mean, it was just question after question, but you didn't interrogate. It was more of getting them on your side.
Mhm.
Actually, I was getting him on the side of logic.
Gotcha.
Well, that's great, Ginger. I appreciate you sharing that. Listen, I know there's some people there that are new, and it's kind of like, this is just a silly example. A third grader going to a seventh grade algebra class. Here is the thing that I want you to strive for. Ginger's providing an environment to help increase your learning curve. Get around people that are having higher levels of conversation, because sooner or later, this language will make sense to you. It can't be one and done. I've never met anyone that get into real estate in order to wait for, maybe a UPS job to open, or they can go to Barnes and Nobles and make what do they call those coffee makers, Fiestras, or I don't know what they call them, coffee makers. Barista, thank you. People want real estate to be their life, and you know what? The last thing I'll leave with is this: it's impossible to fail. You and Bold have heard me say this probably every week. It's impossible for you to fail at real estate. You can only quit. So increase your learning curve, because everyone only has so much runway, and then you run out of money. So get into production, and you do that by working on your 20%, following Gary's top 5 things: lead generate, lead follow up, set appointments, negotiate contracts, which is fun, and practice the role play. So Ginger, have you guys started your group on doing something like that?
We've unofficially done it a few times. Eric and I have done it. We've had Lanessa and Kinsey and Matea all get in a room and do it. We haven't made it official, but we are going to start doing it. We have a call night that we're starting on Thursdays with some leads we're getting from a lender. So I think doing it right before that would be ideal. What do you think? Or we can join you on Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m.
At 10, yes, you can do that. Doing it together is great. Doing both. I have a great YouTube channel, Denny Grimes, Master of Real Estate. I've got a year's worth of videos, role plays. You'll even see Ginger on some of those. I have a TV spot every other week. I talk about what's going on in the market, and it's just a lot of great information. It's all free. Just join, subscribe, or whatever you call that thing on the YouTube, and join me if you want. You can send me an email. I'll make sure you get a personal invitation. Send me at coachdennygrimes@gmail.com, and I'll make sure you get an invite every time to the Tuesday class, and just be a fly on the wall for a while and be willing to step in. Cam, you need to do it too. I mean, you already have got a pretty good conversation. So maybe just a little sandpaper here and there will help you get to the next level. So thanks for letting me come into your market center today, and I will see you Boldies on Thursday.
Thanks,
Thank you
Denny.
so much.
Appreciate you. Thanks for taking
Bye-bye.
out some time. Appreciate it.